Good morning, everybody. Hello, hello, welcome. It's Tuesday morning. My name is Paul Gregory. Those of you who haven't seen one of these before, welcome to my second live stream food photography workshop at home. Thank you to Camera World for hosting us, and also thank you to Canon for getting involved in this as well. So I'm a food photographer, and last week we looked at available light, didn't we? This lovely stuff coming through the window right now, which is going to get curtained out in a minute because I don't need it. We're talking about artificial light today. Just to let you know, I can see you on my laptop in front of me. I can see all the comments. So good morning. Good morning, Paulette. Good morning, Andrea, sorry. Good morning, Stephen. Good morning, Lauren. Good morning, Sarah. Good morning, Judith. Good morning, David. Hope Essex is sunny. And Sophie, good morning. So, last week, it was all about available light because it's really easy to do this at home with available light. You know, we're all cooking, we're all doing bits and pieces in the kitchen, A, to feed ourselves, and B, to keep us a little bit sane. I know that's why I cook. But, you know, daylight's great, but what if it's overcast? What if you want to do this later in the evening when you've not necessarily got beautiful daylight like this? Why wasn't it like this when we did daylight last week? Why wasn't it grey and overcast this week and bright and sunny last week? Anyway, such is life. So you can use artificial light. I'm going to be using my Canon EOS 5D Mark IV. On here, I have a Canon ST-E3 RT, which is a radio transmitter, flash transmitter. And I'm just going to try and show you, but on the, on the side here, you see that dirty great white thing? That is an octabox, okay? So that is a softbox, a big, that's 1.5 meters in width. And in that, I have my Canon EX600 RT. Let's see if I can get the camera back to where it was. I probably won't be able to. Oh, it's gone a little bit funky. Kind of Michael Bay, circa 1995. There we go. Even 2005. There we go. Nicely side framed. So, we're going to do some stuff with flash. Now, if you don't happen to have a big octabox like this, panic not. You can use your flash gun, and what I do have hiding around here somewhere, behind the flash kit, is a diffuser. So, let's use this for example. This is a small diffuser, okay? Shoot through fabric, it's fairly see-through, you can shoot through it. Get one of these, put your flash gun behind it. So your flash is here, that comes there, flash goes through, that will then allow you to get soft diffuse light. The whole point of this big softbox I showed you a second ago, it's huge, yeah, and it gives a very, very soft, very diffuse light. It's a silver interior, and then it's what's known as baffled. So you've got it can't work out what it's doing, or it's not quite sure what's happening. My usual thing. But the baffles are the softening material, the diffusion material. So you have an amount of baffle inside, you have an inner layer of diffusion, then you have an outer layer of diffusion, which means you have beautiful soft light coming through a fairly small, fairly harsh light source. And now what I'm using, I've had this at dog's age, and I don't think you can get this brand anymore, but I know that if you have a look on the Camera World website, I think it's Mag Mod. They do lovely little 24-inch Mag Mod, which gives beautiful, beautiful soft light. And you can put your flash in there, so worth checking that out. And I'm sure if anyone's interested, a link to that product will appear in the comments quick. So yeah, sorry, good morning to, I believe we've got Krista and Abby from Camera World in the comments. Good morning, sorry, didn't mean to forget you. Been a bit of a rush this morning, went to start broadcasting, and Kiwi said, there is no internet. So, of course there isn't, so, but we've got through it, we're all good. So she's going with it. So 5D Mark IV, I've got my 100mm f2.8 macro on here, the Canon ST-E3, which is a transmitter. Now, if you don't have a transmitter, there are ways around it. You can get cables that go from your camera shoe to your flash gun, You can take it off camera that way. We're not using on-camera flash because on-camera flash is harsh, it's one directional, and it just gives not particularly great shadows. So my light source is to one side. So my set is here, and my light source is on my right hand side, and I'm about, what, 2 meters away, and it's parallel to the set. Let's have a quick look at the questions. Excellent, there aren't. That's cool, that's cool. So, should we get on with it? You should be able to see what I'm doing, but what I'm going to do very quickly, the flash is turned on. Now, if anybody has photophobic epilepsy, this is not the one for you. I'm not going to be flashing like a loon, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a quick shot. Make sure that works. Yes, I'm shooting in manual, guys. I'm in manual because I am a complete and total control freak. So why do you shoot in manual, Paul? Manual is simple function, and so I'm autofocus, but I'm manual exposure control, the M on your function dial, okay? And what I'm doing in manual, I have complete control over the aperture and the shutter speed independently. Not like aperture priority, you set the aperture, the camera sets the shutter speed. I have complete and total control. And I need this because flash is instantaneous, okay? And flash is not controlled by shutter speed, okay? The shutter opens and closes to let light come through. Your average flash can fire anywhere between the speed of, I don't know, anywhere from 200th of a second to 2000th of a second, depending on what you're using, depending on whether it's a Speedlite, depending on whether it's a big strobe, studio flash. Depending on what you're using, it's different speeds. So how you can control this is by adjusting your aperture. So you control flash using aperture. Okay, so bit of knowledge. And I use manual because I want to be able to control the shutter speed and the aperture independently of each other. My ISO is set fairly low today. I think I'm about 160, ISO 160, because I want beautiful detail, and also there's a heck of a lot of power coming out of this this unit, and there needs to be because of this beautiful sunshine, but I might close the curtains in a second. You won't lose me completely. Yeah, so let's get on with it. One thing you will see. So I have cheese. I've gone cheeseboarding. I'm thinking, nice little lunch afterwards. So I've gone cheeseboarding. I've got brie. I've got, looks like a manchego. I've got goat's cheese. I've got a lovely little English soft cheese. And some quince paste, otherwise known as membriscio. Grapes in the background, always. First thing I'm going to do, spray bottle. Okay, you can get these online. You can get these in your chemists. And literally, it's water. All it is water. And I'm going to give that a little spray on the grapes in a second to make the grapes look all glistening and gorgeous. And we're going to build the shot as we go. Are there any questions so far? I'm just leaning in, looking at the Mac. Are there any questions so far regarding what we're going to do? I'll take that as a no. Cool. So, let's put my little bit of... Those of you with me last week might remember this lovely little piece of green cloth. I'm not doing a magic trick today. I'm just going to pop that there. Remember, no straight edges, curves, funky shapes. I'm going to lose a stool because I feel a little bit like Veldunican here. Oh God, that tells you how old I am, doesn't it? Right, let's get rid of the stool. Now, ordinarily, I would have it's a 42-inch diffuser. So this thing, I pulled out earlier. But sized up, supersized, so 42 inches I would use normally, and I would have that sat on a lighting stand right at the edge of my set in order to soften the light coming from the flash even more. If I do that, you're not going to be able to see a blessed thing. So I've decided not to use it, but if you're finding your flash is a little bit harsh and you're not getting what you want, then you can always... I'm getting a bit dark now, guys, sorry. You can always put a diffuser in between that. If you haven't got one of these big diffusers, what you can buy, I mean, you can use, obviously you can get them. Have a look on the Camera World site. But what you can also do is you can use tracing paper. You can use white parchment paper, white baking paper, not the brown stuff, because it will give your image like a browny orangey tint. So here we are. Now what I'm going to try and do comments last week were, we can't see the screen, we can't see what you're doing. So, hopefully, this will work. I'm unable, unfortunately, to plug two cameras into my into my Mac. Now we're having an issue here with my video camera, so we might actually just have to switch over. So bear with me for a second, guys. You're not going to need to see this. So if you just bear with me for a sec, I'm going to put you back live. I love it when things go wrong when you're live. Isn't it great? Don't worry. Thank you, Phil. I don't feel quite so old today. I remember when he was... when Larry the Lamb became his sweater, but that's a different kettle of fish completely. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn you onto my hopefully turn you on to my camera, my laptop camera. Oh, I love it when things work. All right, here we go. So what you can see is that. All right, we're just going to play with this and see how we go. So, you can see my screen. This is good. So, on the right-hand side of the screen, I'm going to just work through the issue. We've got a little issue with the broadcast camera, but we're going to get through it. Don't worry. So, what we've got going on here is Brie on a cracker, and in the background, I'm just going to lighten that up a bit. I'm going to change my shutter speed because at the minute that's showing slightly underexposed, so what you're seeing through the camera is also underexposed. So what you see here is your view. I'm just going to get rid of that. So here's my Brie. Got the Membriscio on the cracker underneath, and do you know what? That's a little bit close for my liking, so I'm going to come out. Now, the more observant of you will have noticed earlier that on the right-hand side of my set, I've got a very large piece of board. And what that board is doing, it's serving two purposes. A, it's bouncing some light back into the scene from the flash, but it's also blocking some of that daylight coming through the window. I'm going for a light and airy style shot here, guys. So we're going light and airy. So bright, very lifestyle-y. Now that doesn't look particularly lifestyle-y here looking at that. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go back into manual. And the camera is going to say, no, it's too dark. So I know I want to be around 25th of a second. If I now fire the flash, you should see that's under. So that's what the camera is, that's what's coming from the image. So let's just have a look and see if we can't pump that up a bit. So the flash power is controlled through the transmitter. And actually that's still a little bit dark, so I'm just going to ramp the ISO up. I'm not going to change, my shutter speed is not going to affect my exposure here, guys, yeah? The shutter speed is set, I've just set it to shutter speed 200 because I want to eradicate as much available light as possible. And why do I not go any higher than 200? Because your flash sync speed on the majority of cameras is 200, meaning you cannot shoot any faster than ISO 200, otherwise you are going to get a dark image, what we call shutter blinding. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to adjust that. So I'm up to ISO 320, and obviously this is EOS Utility 3, which means that we can use the screen here to control exactly what I'm doing. Now I know you've got a bit of reflection there, but I'm worried that if I close these curtains too much, that's not too bad. So let's just shoot that and have another look. Right, that's looking all right. The Membriscio kind of looks like slugs, so we're just going to tweak that slightly. So I'm just going to get that Membriscio, and I'm just going to move it a little bit. Almost make it like a little fan. Right, and let's shoot that and have a look. still dark. Okay, let's have a look at the live view, shall we? The preview of the image. Right, there we go. So let's just open that up a bit more. So as my grandmother would have said, so the dog can see the rabbit. Drag that open. Right, so now your live preview is there. Right, depth of field is rubbish, f3.5. Look at that, there's absolutely nothing going on here at all. You're losing all that detail. So I'm going to come in a bit closer. I'm going to raise the camera tripod up a bit. So this is all me prepping for the final shot, yeah? This is not a matter of pressing the button, this is going to be it. This is a work in progress, yeah? If you remember from last week, we built things, we put things together. The lemon cake did reasonably well for what we wanted it to. Oh, you should now get a live image of what I've just shot. And that is so overexposed, it's not true. So what we're going to do, the ISO is going to come down to 100. I mean, there's bright and airy and there's bright and airy. Do you know what I mean? Still a little bit too bright. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to drop the flash power. So rather than having to run all the way over to my flash unit, which to be honest in my flat, which is kind of small, isn't easy because it's the softbox is kind of blocking my movement. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go on to the ST-E3. And I know you can't see this, guys, but I apologise. And I'm just going to, using this, I'm going to reduce the flash power. I was on full, I'm taking it down to half. And let's see how that looks now. I mean, that's looking nice and bright and airy, but it's also looking well overexposed. Let's have a look. Ah, now we're starting to get there. Cool. I'm kind of liking that. What I'm just going to do is I'm just going to move in a tad tighter. I'm looking at the comments. Are there any questions? Yeah, do you know what water? Yeah, you can. Right, so there's a question from David. Thank you, David. Water only or glycerin? You can use water and glycerin. So we're talking about spraying the grapes to make them look pretty and moist and so on. I use a vegetable glycerin normally. And to be honest with you, with something like this, where the grapes are not the hero, they're just in the background, water's fine. Vegetable glycerin, it's edible, but as I'm going to be eating this later, this isn't one of these things we're just going to chuck out. So, yeah, you can use a 50-50 mix of glycerin and water. Vegetable glycerin you can get on Amazon and places like that. And it's literally, it helps to hold moisture. But what I'm going to do with this, I'm just going to use water because that's what I have to hand. And I've put my spray bottle down somewhere and I can't find it. I do love working live. It means if you do mess up, you cannot hide from it. Right, so here we go. Shot is there. Let's just check I've not put it on the windowsill. Or in my pockets. It'll turn up. So I have sprayed them already. So what we've got here is, don't worry, I'm just reading through the comments here. This is good. Right, so point of focus is moving. I'm going to move my point of focus now to the bottom of that cracker where the cheese is. And what we've got, that's better. I'm loving that. So we've lost that corner of the of my piece of marble, which was a scavenger find, by the way. If you have in your area any companies, people that sell marble for for bathrooms and kitchens and stuff like that, 9 times out of 10 they're going to have a scrap at the back. So if you go and have a word with them, 9 times out of 10, I mean, my local guys are quite happy for me to just go and help myself. Obviously, I announce myself for safety reasons, but they're generally quite happy for me to just kind of dive in and get stuck in. So you find these. Obviously, if you're going to do that, introduce yourself. Tell them you're after bits of, offcuts for food photography. Introduce yourself. Don't just go looking around. I always offer to send images of stuff I've used. And But if you build a relationship with people like that, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a reasonable amount of help out of it. Now, I'm just moving these here comments because your comments are covering my functionality. There we go. So here we have the screen. So I'm just going to try and make that a tad bigger. So I'm going to say one big hello. I'm going to carry on because time is against us. So we've had a bit of a move. Yeah, so there we have, and you're going to see this beautifully. So the exposure. Will, do I prefer the 5D Mark IV or the EOS R for food product photography? My 5D Mark IV is my baby. I've had 5D since they launched, and I absolutely adore the Mark IV. I've not had the pleasure of using an EOS R to work with. The RP that I have been loaned is a great little bit of kit, but I love my I absolutely adore my Mark IV. There are people out there that are using the EOS Rs for food and product photography. Great. This is what I like. This is what I love. So this is my choice. It's all a matter of personal choice, people. Right, so here we have cheese. Right, and you should be able to see that. That's a little dark. So remember, I'm in manual. My aperture for some reason is f6.3. I'm going to open that up to 5.6, which should give us more light, because remember, flash exposure is controlled by the aperture. So there we go. So let's have a quick look on that. That's looking all right. I just want a little bit more light. So what I'm going to do, I'm happy with the composition. Maybe that little block of cheese needs to come around a little bit. I'm going to move that bit of membrange off the top of that lovely, soft English boule. Right, there we go. So that is still a tad dark. So I'm going to take the ISO up. I'm not. Oh, that's why, because I'm an aperture priority, guys, not manual. So let's try again. That's a bit darker. Right, so we're starting again, because I forgot, in all the kerfuffle, I forgot to move my settings back to what they were. Oh! So ISO's going up because I'm happy with the flash power the way it is. I never go any higher than about ISO 400 when I'm shooting food, because I like that. There we go. Wicked. That's looking good. That's looking really, really good. Awesome. So what I would normally do at this stage as well, I've got that all right. I'm happy with the shot. I'm going to come in a bit tighter on that cheese, and we'll just have an embrasure in the background. And then we have a secondary shot. Yeah? So these are, I'm not telling you how to set up a shot, yeah? I am not a food stylist, as most of you who know a bit about food photography will realise. Preview image in the way. Okay. To be honest with you, I think the preview image is going to be, let's get rid of that. See, the problem is now, if I do that, you're not going to be able to, this is, there we go, when I shoot it, so we are live doing it, but it's going to look a bit dark on the screen. So with the preview image, there we go, I'm just going to minimize that and bring him back up. So that's your preview image. Let's take him down a bit. So there we go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to move that. I'm going to minimize it. Have I missed something? Marble was turned. No, I've not moved the marble. No, I've moved the camera, Stephen. I've not moved the marble. Kath, I like the slight diagonal on the marble. Yeah, but I don't like to shoot straight on. Let's just say you can see this. I don't like to shoot straight on. I like a bit of angle on stuff, and especially what you've seen is I've come away. Let's take you back. So that's where I was in the first place, I think, somewhere like that. So if it's slight angle, you get that. And if we just lift, I've got my cable release set as well. So I'm trying to do this is a bit cack-handed, if there's such a phrase. Focus there. Yeah. So I'm trying to multitask, and we all know how well we men deal with multitasking. And there is, let's just shoot that so you can see that. Yeah, so that's the other shot. So you've got it. Oh, that's actually quite nice. So that's nice, bright light. A little bit of Membrisio coming in that section there. Quite nice. Right. Sorry about the little bit kerfuffle earlier with the technology letting me down. This is very much a suck it and see type thing. Yeah. So I just wanted to give you more of an idea. Light and bright flash, using flash, unless you've got your flash power really, really low and really, really far away from the camera, you prefer to shoot dark moody, which we're going to go and do in a second. But what you find with flash is the majority of professional food photographers like myself out there working, if someone wants light and bright, I'd say 60%, 60 to 80% will use flash. Daylight's great, but you cannot control it. Yeah, there's no consistency. You know what this country's like. You've got a lovely, beautiful window, and we saw it last week when I was doing my my available light work with you. Cloud comes in, sun comes out. Yeah, it ruins it completely. Absolutely. So, yeah, for me, using flash is the way forward. I do like to use a little bit of, I do like to use other light sources though, so artificial light because you can control it. ETTL or manual control of the flash is a question from David. Oh, manual all the way, David. I'm using manual. Ordinarily, these would be, I'd be using studio flash, ordinarily, but the room I have in my flat kind of prevents that. A lot of the time when I'm working, I find myself going to clients' locations, their cafes, things like that, and there's not enough room to swing a cat. So, and power is also an issue as well. So using the Speedlites, I've got complete flexibility. I've got 2 or 3 separate sizes of soft boxes I can use, so I can get what I want. Personally, I would prefer to use on a work, if I was to photograph a cookbook, it would be flash. It would be studio flash, powered, plugged into the mains. But in this situation, and do you know what? When I'm out and about doing quick stuff, these Speedlites work an absolute treat, and they're accessible and they're easy. Your trigger, another question from David, your trigger allows you to, oh, more questions, it's moved David's question. Your trigger allows you to manually control the Speedlite. Yes, it does. It's the Canon ST-E3 RT, and it's radio trigger, so there's no line of sight issues or anything like that, and I can go into the ST-E3 trigger and I can control everything completely remotely. And as if by magic, here we have Camera World putting the details of the flash gun and the transmitter there. You probably already mentioned there. So question from Kath. You probably always mentioned this, but is there a reflector opposite the flash for even lighting? Not at the moment. I would normally, doing light and airy, 9 times out of 10 I will put a larger reflector in between the flash, and it's normally sat at the edge of the table, as you saw earlier. But on this occasion, I haven't done it. A, because you wouldn't be able to, well, it doesn't really matter now, you wouldn't be able to have seen what I was doing. I only tend to do it when clients want softer light, or I think the subject needs a softer light. Why flexi? Question from Will, why flexi zone focusing, not single point focus? I thought I was on single point focus. To be honest with you, when I'm shooting like this, I use what the camera defaults to. Normally, shooting tethered, I would be controlling everything through the camera, and then it would suck through into the software and then onto my screen. I didn't realise I was on flexi point, to be honest with you. Oh well, such is life. We'll leave that as it is. Right, I'm going to move away from this cheese. We're going to move away from the light. We're going to move away from the flash, and what we're going to use instead, and I'm going to hopefully show you using the live view. Let's get rid of that quick preview. Any questions about the cheese, about the flash? The cheese looks yummy, by the way, so that's going to get eaten at some point very soon. I'm going to put the camera into aperture priority because that's how I'm going to shoot for the next section. No, I'm not. That's bulb, aperture priority. I'm just going to drag the camera back a bit. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to move this board. I know we're not focused. That's my lunch. That can go into there. Excuse the noise. Marble is heavy and scratchy. And what I also have is you're going to see this white background change to black. Now I must admit, dark and moody is my preference. You know, when it comes to shooting, you give me dark and moody any day and I'm a happy chappy. So, what you can't see because of my little technical issue is I'm putting a piece of black board. So moving away from the light and airy, the light, the bright, the white, okay? And I'm putting a piece of black board behind. Let's see if that'll focus. You can see what's occurring. It won't, but there we go. So that's my black baseboard. This is a piece of black board that I'm using there. I'm going to take a couple of bits of black foam board. Sorry guys, I know you can't see the setup, but I will take an image of the setup on my phone, which is obviously really practical, and pop it in the comments in a little bit, okay, so you can actually see what's happened, where we've come from. Yeah, and I'm just taking some bits of black foam board, which are just the best thing ever invented, by the way, and I'm just masking off all that white that's on the board on the right hand side. Now what I'm using here, and I'm really sorry you can't see it, I've got in my hand, so the flash is off. Yeah, we're not using the flash anymore. I'm going to turn the softbox around, turn him off. I'm talking to you, I'm talking you through what I'm doing. I know you can't see, and my apologies, but hey, what we're going to do in this instance is just roll with it. So I've got a Rotolight NEO II, which is a beautiful LED light. That wasn't the light falling over, that was something else falling over. It's a lovely little LED light, available from Camera World, and it's basically, it looks like a ring flash, looks like a ring light. Have a look on the website and you will see exactly what I'm bleating about. But this is a continuous light source, it's LED, okay? And what it allows me to do is have one continuous belt of light. It's fairly, it's probably about, I don't know, 4 to 6 inches in diameter. And it's got lots of lovely LEDs in it, which provide beautiful light. And what I love about this more than anything else is the fact that you can control the power that comes out of it. So it is completely dimmable. You can go down to 0%, which is off, right the way up to 100%, which is full. So I'm going to show you this. I'm going to get my next little bit, my next little setup. Pop him in there. So we have cheese, we have these lovely beetroot and potato crackers. Do you freeze the marble before No, I don't, David. David's asked, do I freeze the marble before placing cool cheese on it? No, because when I shoot cheese, it's generally at room temperature. I want the joys of using flash with food is it's instantaneous. Especially with the speed lights, there's no modelling lights. So the speed light, it just fires. So you use whatever light's available in the room to see what you're doing. And then you then fire it and there's no heat coming from the lights onto your subject. In this case, however, LEDs are quite cool, so you're not going to have too much of an issue there. And what I was saying, I'm just going to show you. So the LED, this little Rotolight NEO II, which is gorgeous. I'm at 100% power, and I'm just going to take it down. And you should, through the screen, see it getting darker and darker and darker. It's brightening up because the camera's, I'm in aperture priority, the camera's changing the exposure. So I'm going to take that back up. I like working with this at about kind of 90%. And what you can do with this as well, which I absolutely adore, is you can control the amount of, well, you can control the actual colour temperature. So those of you that, oh, what's colour temperature, Paul? Colour temperature is how your camera copes with colour, you know, how it shows colours of light. Colour temperature is a scale. I'm not going to get too technical on you, but is a scale, and it's measured and described in Kelvin. And all light has a specific colour temperature, and 9 times out of 10 you can find colour temperature whatever light you're using artificially on the bulb, on the packaging. This lovely little Rotolight NEO II, I can tell it what colour temperature I want to use. So I'm going to go, I'm in aperture priority here, guys, so you can see exactly what's going on. So what I've got behind the set, I have got a piece of black board. On the right hand side of the set, the right hand side kind of here, going that way, hello, that way, you have pieces of black foam board, which will then absorb the light coming off. So what I'm going to do, the light is at its parallel, okay? So I'm just trying to see if I can show you so you see that coming in. So I am literally parallel to the table, and I'm just going to move that a bit. You don't have to have an expensive LED light to do this. These things aren't cheap, but they're blooming brilliant. I love them. I absolutely love this. It's a fantastic piece of kit, and I'm in love. You don't need hugely expensive bits of kit to do this. You can do this, what I'm showing you. This is dark and moody. This is kind of my thing. Yeah, this is what I love to do. If a client says to me, yeah, we're not quite sure how I want to go with it, let's try dark and moody. And all of a sudden, because it's my comfort zone, it's in my wheelhouse, and I absolutely adore it. Now, what you might not be able to see is I'm putting pieces of black board either side of this light, and what that's doing, you should see now that I'm just basically flagging it. So I've taken 2 pieces of board, and I'm going to take a picture on my phone and show you in a little bit. So yeah, what I've got is I've got some boards, and I have put them on either side of the Rotolight to just kind of give you a shaft of light coming through. This needs to be very controlled, and I'm just taking a little set here shot as well so you can see later. If I don't do it now, I'll strip it all back and I'll forget about it. It's just how I am. So what we have going on here, we've got these lovely little crackers, the kind of beetroot and sweet potato and stuff. They're awesome. And we've got this cheese. Now the shadow on the cheese is annoying me, so we'll bring that slightly further forward, and we've got our grapes. So what we've got here, I'm going to take these boards out of the way so the light comes back in, and as soon as I put one of these boards in front of this, you see this is called flagging. Okay, so I'm taking the board from one side of the light to the other, and look how it changes the light coming through. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put those boards back where they were. So I've got a lovely shaft of light coming through and hitting our subject. Now I'm quite liking that, and you can see this is good. I'm quite liking that. For me, it's possibly a little bit too dark. Be aware, there is a very, very distinct difference between dark and moody and underexposed. If it's underexposed, it's underexposed. You can't pass it off as dark and moody, yeah? You need an amount of highlight, you need shadow, mid-tone, and what we've got going on here, that for me, that's pretty good. I'm quite liking that. But what I do want is I do want a little bit more light Let's hope you can see my finger here. You see my finger? I'm blocking the light, but there. So when I'm looking at it, it's just a bit too dark. And actually, I want a bit more light coming back onto this part of the cheese here. So I'm going to get a little piece of whiteboard. Doesn't need to be huge. And I've actually got a couple of bits of foam board here, and I'm just going to fold this, use the noise, and I'm just going to put that in front, literally next to my camera lens, and I'm just going to use that to bounce a little bit of light back in. Just going to go slightly to one side, actually, so the light, I don't know if you can see that, so you've got light, there we go, coming back onto the top of the cheese. So if I put that in there, you'll see there's light bouncing back onto the top of that half a ball of cheese. Yeah, so that's quite nice. Let's shoot that like that. Yeah, that's looking kind of cool. It is a bit dark still, so I'm just going to take my ISO up slightly. I want to give it half a stop. So I'm going to go from ISO 400 to about 500, ISO 500. There's a question. No, it's saw a question. Yeah, the receipt. Okay, so quick question. So flash. Let's just cover flash off very quickly. There's a question here. I have an ST-E3 RT transmitter. What's attached to the light box as a receiver, please? I have a Bowens light. Basically, what attachment? So you would need a specific. Right, the ST-E3 RT will not trigger anything other than Canon compatible speedlights. Works on the same, I believe. If you've got a Bowens kit, then you would need to get a Bowens transmitter. To the best of my knowledge. Get going with the jet pins. Right, okay, David. Yeah, so David just commented about the Rotolight NEO II. Yes, it's £179, but it's absolutely stunning. You don't need an expensive bit of LED kit to do this. You can use an angle point lamp. You know, you can use an LED torch. You can use whatever you happen to have at home to give you a consistent light source. You can do this with flash, long as you use something to to contain the direction of the flash. Flag it, as I have done here. So I've just gone a little bit off here. I've gone slightly to one side, as I'm hoping you can see, because I'm just liking the fact that the cheese is just kind of coming down in there. Let's just press the button and get it to focus. Right. So the focus point is now on that cracker. I'm going to put that white bounce back in just a little bit to bring the highlight back up. And let's show you the image. No, don't want to be seeing that. Let's go back into this. Other functions. Quick preview. So that shows you how long it's been since we've looked at that. Question from Steve. Is it just me or someone think the same? I prefer to see the setup during the tutorial. No, Steve, I get this 100%. Unfortunately, due to the technical issue I had earlier, I'm down to one camera. I'd love to be able to show you the setup, but unfortunately I'm down to one camera. So this is how we're going to rock it. Sharon, welcome, no problem. You missed a bit of a technical issue, but never mind. So let's just shoot that. And the quick preview, there we go. So we've got, you should be able to see that now. So we've got that, it's lacking a bit of contrast. It's just not popping. So I'm just going to do something a bit cheeky. I'm going to drop, actually just increase the aperture a little bit. I'm going to go to f6.3. Just going to make it a little bit darker. I'm actually going to move the light a little bit as well because I'm not happy. So one of the flags has just fallen, which is fine. I'm just going to put that to one side so you flag that bit. There. I will be sharing images of the setup, guys. Obviously, we've had a bit of a technical issue. But I will be sharing images of the setup. Right, so let's just... See, this is great because you can't see what I'm doing. So if I make a complete hash of this, then I don't look as stupid as I normally do. But hey, the problem is you can't see what I'm doing at all. So I'm just lifting the light a little, and I'm now angling it slightly further down, so it's not so level. And now what we have, a little bit of flag on the side of the light, and what we have now is that. I'm going to ramp the ISO up a bit because that's still a little bit dark for my liking. Half a stop, sorry, a third of a stop on the ISO. Yeah. So the whole point of this, the focus is the cracker. The cheese and the grapes are a bit of an added bonus, to be honest with you. But let's just move. There we go. So I'm just moving that light round a little bit more towards the camera, which I wouldn't normally do. I'd normally keep it level with the surface, but that's actually giving me some really nice light. There we go. That's better. And then if I were to grab my whiteboard again, I can just put a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of bounce back into the grapes. So my bounce board is on the right hand side of the grapes as you're looking at it. So if I just show you, see that there? So I'm on the right hand side of the grapes, and I'm just going to pop that in there so we get a little bit of bounce. Yeah, liking that. That's looking nice. So this is an idea of how you can do this at home. Okay. Today has not been the smoothest, so for that I apologise, but hey, we're live, things happen, technology fails, but hey, it is what it is. What I would like to say to you now is, I will look through all the comments, all the questions, and after the fact, and kind of answer any questions I've not been able to get to. I didn't spray the grapes, Stephen, no, that's my error with everything that's kind of gone on. Yeah, that kind of got in the wayside. Question from Stuart. So I'm guessing you sourced the slate, same as marble. Right, now that piece of slate I'm shooting on is from the pier. That's really weird. Those of you who know the pier will know that they closed quite a few years ago. I just acquire bits and pieces. I'm a charity shop champion. My charity shops love me, the local ones love me because you've got this and you've got that, and I find things and I use it as I see fit. So it's a piece of slate which is actually it's meant to be a placemat, a slate placemat, but it works really well for this. So I will go through the questions and kind of talk through any answers that need to be done. Last week we launched a competition when we did the available light run through, we did run a competition, and there were 5. Camera World, you read my mind. Remember the competition winners from last week. We're there. So there were 5 winners last week. We had 50, 60 entries come in, and you will see in a second. I can't remember the names off the top of my head, so Camera World, please help me out. There were 5 winners that were chosen. Really nice, nicely shot, nicely executed, beautifully lit images of daylight. There are a couple of cakes in there, which obviously I'd love to see. So, yes, the names will pop up, hopefully, in a second. There we go. So congratulations to our winners in no particular order. Sonia Stubbs, Janet Miles, Janet Brown, Lauren Mitchell, and Deborah Rapp. Well done. Well done, well done. There were some really nice Really nice shots in there. Lots of cake, which I really enjoyed seeing. I can't remember who did. I think it was Sonia. There was a really, really nice shot of 3 cookies in kind of a dark and moody style, which I thought was just stunning. Lovely carrot cake, lovely lemon cake. You know, I think Janet did the lemon drizzle cake, looked awesome. So really, 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 really well done. There are Canon goodie bags which you will be receiving, but Camera World will get in touch and organise that with you. However, going to give you a competition for this as well, because Canon have got all these goodie bags they want to give away. So 5 Canon goodie bags up for winning. What I'd like you to do is to basically send an image to, I believe is it images@cameraworld.co.uk. It'll be all over the socials. Camera World will make that clear. But I'd like you to send food images, please. Food images shot using artificial light. So it could be flash, it could be an LED lamp, it could be an angle point lamp, anything you happen to have knocking around at home. But artificial light, please. Yeah, food images. So yes, food images. I think it's 1 or 2 per person, but the rules and stuff will come up through Camera World very, very soon. That will be announced, I believe, through the Camera World Facebook page in the next week or so. Yes, it's images@cameraworld.co.uk. So send your entries to images@cameraworld.co.uk. And I'm looking for images that are inspired by today's topic, not by the technological issues and the joy of life, but I'm looking for images inspired by what you've seen today using artificial light. Okay, so yours. Thank you very much indeed. I don't think there's anything else I need to cover. If there is, I'm sure Camera World will pop in and tell me, but I've had lots of fun doing this. Thank you. I believe you have a week to get these entries in, and the winners will be announced on the Camera World Facebook page. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your patience, guys. I will go through these comments and answer any questions we haven't touched. Sorry for the overrun, but hey, technology's great when it works, isn't it? Yes, so thank you very much indeed. Yes, the majority of the entries were women. This is true, but do you know what? There are some really, really good entries, really, regardless of who they were by. But it just, do you know what? I'm not a great cake baker, and yeah. Anyway, moving swiftly on before I get myself into hot water. It's been great, guys. I've enjoyed this. Thank you very much indeed. Have lots and lots of fun. Stephanie, you're very welcome. Yes, persevering with the tech. Hey, we just get on with it, don't we? We just get on with it. And thank you for your patience, guys. Yes, Angela, I got the gremlins and I beat them, most definitely. Right, thank you very much indeed, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. Don't forget to work with your artificial light and get some images through to Camera World, inspired by and shot after today. Just throw that in there. Images for the competition should be shot today or after today, not before. Yeah, the dark and moody, Liz Barber, the dark and moody is great. It's one of those things that I really love, and there's lots of inspiration out there on social medias, on image websites, so on and so forth. So thank you very much indeed, guys. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for bearing with me. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to seeing some gorgeous images. Stay safe, look after yourselves, and see you soon. Bye.